Welcome to Chapter 11, Areas Related to Circles. The big idea is beautifully simple. A sector is just a slice of a circle, and its share of the area is exactly its share of the full turn, the fraction theta over 360. From that one idea you'll get the area of a sector and the length of its arc. Then you'll see that a segment is simply a sector with the triangle inside it removed. We'll use pi as 22 over 7 or 3.14, exactly as the textbook tells us, and apply it all to clocks, windscreen wipers, a silver brooch and a grazing horse, step by step, before finishing with exam practice.
In the darkness of the unknown, a stuck student finds their way, the greatest minds, and turn confusion into brilliance.
Here is a circle, and this blue line from the center out to the edge is its radius, r. Now, you've been told since primary school that the area is pi r squared, but have you ever been shown why? Where does that pi come from, and why is the radius squared? A formula you can't explain is just a spell you're memorizing, and spells get forgotten in the exam hall. So let's not take it on faith. Let's physically take this circle apart with our hands and watch pi r squared build itself in front of us. First, we slice it into many equal wedges, straight through the center, exactly the way you'd cut a pizza. Each of these thin slices is a tiny sector. I'm using 16 here so your eye can follow them, but hold this thought. The thinner we cut, the more slices we get, the more perfectly the trick is going to work. That thinner and thinner idea is the whole secret, so keep it in mind as we go. Here's the clever bit. We fan the slices out and lay them side by side, but flipping every other one, this slice points up, its neighbor points down, up, down, all the way along. Why alternate them? Because the pointy tip of one fills exactly the gap left by its neighbor, so they interlock with no space wasted. Notice we haven't added or removed a single scrap of the circle. We've only rearranged it, so whatever area we started with is still all here. And look what it becomes, a shape that is almost a perfect rectangle, bumpy along the top only because our slices are still a little fat. Cut them thinner and that top edge straightens right out. Now let's measure this rectangle, because its sides are hiding the answer. The height, this red side, is just the straight edge of one slice, and that edge was a radius of the circle, so the height is exactly r. For the width, look along the green top and bottom, those wavy edges are the curved arcs of the slices. Half of the slices point up and lay their arcs along the top. The other half point down and lay their arcs along the bottom. All the arcs together make up the full circumference, to pi r, so just one edge, the top, carries half of it. Half of 2 pi r is pi r, that's why the width is pi r, and that is the only place the pi ever enters, it rode in on the circumference. And a rectangle's area we've known forever, it's just width times height. So multiply the width, pi r, by the height, r, pi r times r, and there it is, pi r squared. That's the whole mystery solved. The r is squared simply because one side of the rectangle is r and the other side, pi r, also carries an r inside it, so the two r's multiply together. The circle's area was a rectangle wearing a disguise all along, and now you know exactly why the formula reads pi r squared. You could rebuild it from scratch. Now that we know the whole circle, let's talk about a piece of it. This orange region is a sector, the shape you get by cutting from the center along to radii, opening them to some angle we'll call theta, that little Greek letter marking the opening. Here's the one idea that unlocks everything about sectors. A sector is nothing more than a fraction of the whole circle. Think of the full pizza. A sector is just how big a slice you took. So instead of learning brand new formulas, we only have to ask, what fraction of the circle is this slice? And finding that fraction is easy, because a full turn all the way around the center is 360 degrees. So the slice's share of the circle is its angle compared to the whole turn, theta over 360. If theta were the whole 360, you would have the entire circle, a fraction of 1. If it were half, 180, you'd have exactly half. Watch it prove itself. As I open the angle wider, the orange slice grows, and the fraction theta over 360 grows in perfect step with it. The angle and the share are two ways of saying the same thing. Now the payoff. If the slice is that fraction of the circle, then it must be that same fraction of everything the circle has. Take the full area, pi r squared, multiply by theta over 360, and you get the sector's area, no new formula, just a share of the one we built. And its curved edge, this green arc, is that same fraction of the full boundary, the circumference to pi r. That's the beautiful part. One single fraction does both jobs. Multiply it by an area and you get an area. Multiply it by a length and you get a length. Learn the two whole circle formulas and the fraction hands you every sector answer for free. The last shape in this chapter is the segment, and students mix it up with the sector constantly. So let's see exactly how they differ. We start the same way, with this sector, the pi slice bounded by two radii and the arc between them. Keep your eye on it, because a segment is what you get when you slice one particular piece away from this. Look inside the sector and you'll spot a triangle hiding there. Its three corners are the center and the 2 points where the radii meet the arc. Two of its sides are the radii themselves. The third side is this straight red line joining the two arc ends. That straight line is called the chord, and it's the star of the show. The chord is the fault line that splits the sector into two parts, the flat triangle on the inside, and a thin curved sliver trapped between the chord and the arc. So watch me lift the red triangle straight out of the sector and set it aside. What stays behind? This orange sliver caught between the straight chord and the curved arc, that is the segment. Really look at it. The segment is the curved leftover, the part of the slice on the far side of the chord. That's the difference students always blur. The sector is the whole pi slice, the segment is only the curved cap beyond the chord. And because we literally lifted the triangle out of the sector to reveal it, the formula writes itself, no memorizing required. Whatever the segment's area is, the sector was the segment plus the triangle we removed. So the segment is the sector minus that triangle. That's why you'll never find a special standalone formula for a segment in your book. There's no need for one. Find the sector, find the triangle, subtract. Segment equals sector minus triangle. And that's the entire chapter, standing on three ideas you now understand, not just memorize. 1. A circle's area is pi r squared, and you know why. Because its sectors repack into a rectangle whose sides are r and pi r. 2. A sector is theta over 360 of the circle, so it's that fraction of the area and of the arc, the same fraction doing both. 3. A segment is a sector with its triangle removed, sector minus triangle. Hold those three and every single problem ahead is just these ideas wearing different numbers. Now let's roll up our sleeves and work every example and exercise together. Let's walk through both insert examples together, one gentle step at a time, and at every line I'll tell you not just what we do, but why we do it, so the method sticks. A sector is a slice of the circle, so its area is just its share of the whole. That one idea handles the entire problem. Let's decide our approach before touching numbers. The shaded slice on screen is a sector, and remember what a sector is, a fraction of the whole circle. Its fraction is its angle over the full turn, theta over 360, so its area is that fraction of the circle's area pi r squared. That's why the formula reads theta over 360 times pi r squared. It isn't handed down, it's just the slice's share of the whole. Before substituting, let's clearly list what the question gives us, so nothing goes astray. The radius r is 4 centimeters, and the angle theta of this slice is 30 degrees. The question also tells us to use pi as 3.14. We respect that. Now we simply put those numbers where the letters were, so every symbol turns into an actual value. Theta becomes 30, r becomes 4, and 4 squared is written as 4 times 4 so you can see nothing is hidden. Always tidy the fraction first, it makes the arithmetic kinder. 30 over 360, both divide by 30, leaving 1 over 12. So the slice is 1/12 of the whole circle, which makes sense. 30 degrees is 1/12 of a full 360 turn. Next handle the whole circle part, pi times r squared, which is 3.14 times 16. We are finding the full circle's area first, then we'll take a 12th of it. Finally take that 1/12 by dividing 50.24 by 12. This is the minor sector, the smaller slice, and it's about 4.19 square centimeters. Notice the units are square centimeters, because area always is. Now for the major sector. Here's the smart move. The major sector is simply everything in the circle that isn't our little slice. So rather than compute its awkward 330-degree angle, we just take the whole circle and remove the slice we already found. That's why we write major equals pi r squared minus the sector. So we need the whole circle's area, pi r squared, which is 3.14 times 16, the same 50.24 we met a moment ago. Good, we've already done half the work. Now subtract the minor sector we found, 4.19, from the full 50.24. What remains is everything outside our slice. And that leftover is the major sector, about 46.1 square centimeters rounded to 1 decimal place, comfortably the bigger piece, exactly as we'd expect from a slice of only 30 degrees. Here's the takeaway worth carrying to every sector problem. The minor and major sectors together are the whole circle, nothing more and nothing less. So the instant you have one, the other is just a subtraction from pi r squared. Never grind out the big angle when you can subtract the small one. A segment is a sector with the triangle inside it removed. So we'll find those two pieces and subtract, exactly as we saw the shapes come apart. Let's set the strategy first. The shaded region is a segment, the curved cap on the far side of the code hub. Recall how we peeled it apart. A segment is the sector with its inner triangle lifted out. So our whole plan is segment equals sector minus triangle. The code is what separates the two, so we'll compute the sector, compute triangle OAB, and subtract. Piece 1, the sector. Same idea as before. It's the angle fraction of the whole circle, theta over 360 times pi r squared, with theta 120 and r 21. Notice the question gives pi as 22 over 7. That's the smart choice here because 21 is a multiple of 7, so the 7s will cancel and keep us in whole numbers. Tidy as we go. 120 over 360 is 1/3, and one of the 21s divides the 7 to give 3, so the messy 7s vanish, just as we hoped. This is exactly why we picked 22 over 7. Multiply the whole numbers through and the sector comes out to a clean 462 square centimeters. Half our job is done, now the triangle. Piece 2. Triangle OAB, the flat triangle between the two radii and the chord. To find its area we need its height and base, so we drop a perpendicular OM from the center onto the chord. Because the two radii OA and OB are equal, this triangle is isosceles, and that perpendicular neatly bisects both the chord and the 120-degree angle, giving two right triangles, each with a 60-degree angle at O. Now work in one of those right triangles, OMA. The height OM sits next to the 60-degree angle, and the radius OA is the hypotenuse, so cosine, adjacent over hypotenuse, links them. Cosine of 60 is 1/2. So OM, our height, is half the radius, half of 21. That's why the perpendicular was worth drawing. It turned the height into simple trig. For the base we want the chord. AM is the side opposite the 60-degree angle, so this time we use sine, opposite over hypotenuse. Sine of 60 is √3 over 2. That makes AM equal to 21 √3 over 2. But AM is only half the chord, the perpendicular split it, so the full chord is twice AM, which is 21 √3. Now we have both base and height. Apply the plane triangle formula, half base times height, half of the base 21 √3, times the height OM, 21 over 2. Everything we plug in was earned from the geometry, not guessed. Multiplying it out gives 441 √3 over 4 square centimeters. Keep the √3 exact for now, rounding early would spoil the tidy final form. Now the payoff. Our plan was segment equals sector minus triangle, so subtract the triangle we just found from the 462 sector. Finally, pull out the common factor of 21 over 4 to match the textbook's neat form, same value, just dressed tidily. That's the area of segment FIB. The pattern to remember for every segment: never hunt for a one-shot formula. Find the sector and the triangle separately, then subtract. And the chord is the whole reason a segment exists. It's the straight cut that slices the triangle away from the pie slice, leaving the curved cap behind. Now let's solve every question in exercise 11.1, breaking each into small, clear steps. And on every line I'll tell you the reason behind the move, not just the move, so you're learning a method you can repeat, not a route you have to memorize. One habit for the whole exercise: unless a problem states otherwise, we use pi as 22 over 7, and you'll see why. Most of these radii are multiples of 7, so the 7s cancel and leave clean numbers. This is the sector idea in its purest form. A slice is just a fraction of the whole circle, so we take that fraction of pi r squared. We start every sector problem the same way, by recalling what a sector actually is, a fraction of the whole circle, and its fraction is the angle over the full turn, theta over 360. So its area is that fraction of the circle's area pi r squared. That's the formula. not memorized, just the slice's share of the whole. Now we replace the letters with the given numbers. R is 6, theta is 60, and for pi we choose 22/7. Here 6 isn't a multiple of 7, but the angle will do the cleaning for us, as you'll see. Simplify the fraction first, always. 60/360 cancels to 1/6, which is the plain fact that a 60-degree slice is 1/6 of the full 360 circle. Now use that 1/6. 36 divided by 6 is 6, so the big number shrinks before we multiply. Simplifying early keeps the arithmetic small and mistakes rare. Finally multiply 22/7 by 6 to reach the answer, 132/7 square centimeters. We leave it as a fraction because 7 doesn't divide evenly. That's an honest exact answer. The habit to carry forward, with a friendly angle like 60, simplify the fraction to 1/6 first, the arithmetic then almost solves itself, and you rarely need a calculator. The word quadrant is the clue. Quad means 4, so it's a quarter of the circle. But we can't find any area until we know the radius, and here the circumference hands it to us. First let's name what we're after. A quadrant is a quarter of the circle, a 90-degree sector, since 90 is a quarter of 360. So its area is 1/4 of pi r squared. But notice the snag, we don't yet know r. Every area formula needs the radius, so finding r is our real first job. The question gives the circumference instead, and circumference is 2 pi r, the distance once around. We're told that equals 22, so we have an equation we can solve for r. Put in pi as 22/7. We choose it here on purpose. The 22 on the right is going to cancel the 22 in 22/7, which is no accident. The question was built with these friendly numbers. Solve for r. The 22 on top cancels the 22 on the right, and rearranging leaves r as 7/2 centimeters, that's 3.5. Now that we finally know the radius, we can find any area we like. Back to the goal, 1/4 of pi r squared. Substitute pi as 22/7 and r as 7/2, writing r squared as 7/2 times 7/2 so nothing is skipped. Multiply carefully, one of the 7's on the bottom cancels a 7 on top, and it lands on 77/8 square centimeters, which is 9.625. Clean enough to leave as a fraction or a decimal. The general lesson: whenever a problem gives you the circumference or a perimeter instead of the radius, extract the radius first. Nothing else can start until you have it, because r sits inside every single area formula. This looks like a clock problem, but see through the disguise, the minute hand is a radius sweeping round, so the region it covers is a sector. Find the angle, and it's an ordinary sector sum. Let's translate the clock into geometry. As the minute hand turns, its tip traces a circle and the hand itself is the radius, so r is the hand's length, 14 centimeters. The area it sweeps is a sector of that circle. The one thing we still need is the angle, so that's our first target. How much does the hand turn in 5 minutes? A full hour, 60 minutes, is one whole turn of 360 degrees. So each minute is 360/60, that's 6 degrees, and 5 minutes is 5 sixes, 30 degrees. Now we have both radius and angle. With the clock decoded, it's a plane sector, angle fraction times pi r squared, using pi as 22/7 since 14 is a multiple of 7. Simplify before multiplying. 30/360 is 1/12, and 114 divided by the 7 gives 2, so the 7's clear out. This is exactly the payoff of choosing 22/7 for a radius of 14. Multiply the whole numbers and divide by 12 to reach 154/3 square centimeters. The 3 doesn't divide out, so we honestly leave it as a fraction. The trick to spot every time, a clock, a wiper, a searchlight, any hand or beam turning about a fixed point is a hidden sector. Convert the time or the spread into an angle, and from there it's the same routine formula. The magic words here are right angle at the center. That makes the inner triangle a right triangle with 2 legs equal to the radius, the easiest triangle you'll ever meet. Part 1 asks for the minor segment, that's the curved cap beyond the chord on screen. Recall our rule, a segment is the sector minus the triangle inside it. So we'll build each piece for this 90-degree angle and subtract. Let's take the sector and the triangle in turn. The sector first. A 90-degree slice is 1/4 of the circle, and here we use pi as 3.14 because the question tells us to, and 10 isn't a multiple of 7. 1/4 of 3.14 times 100 gives 78.5 square centimeters for the sector. That's the pi slice. Now we remove its triangle. Here's why the right angle is a gift. The triangle's 2 sides are radii, and they meet at 90 degrees, so those radii are the 2 perpendicular legs. Area of a right triangle is just half of leg times leg, half of 10 times 10, which is 50. No trig, no dropping perpendiculars, no chord to compute. Now subtract. Following our plan, sector 78.5 minus triangle 50 leaves 28.5 square centimeters. That's the minor segment. Part 2 wants the major sector, the big remaining slice. As always, don't wrestle with its 270-degree angle. Just take the whole circle and remove the small 90-degree sector we already found. The whole circle is 3.14 times 100, that's 314. Take away the 78.5 minor sector and the major sector is 235.5 square centimeters, the 3/4 slice, exactly as we'd expect. To takeaways, when the central angle is a right angle, the triangle's legs are the radii, so its area is simply half r squared. Commit that shortcut to memory. And once more, a major piece is always the whole circle minus the minor piece. One radius and one angle feed all 3 parts. Watch how the same fraction, 1/6, does the arc as a length, the sector as an area, and then leads into the segment. Let's lay out our givens once, since all 3 parts share them, radius 21, angle 60. Because 21 is a multiple of 7, we'll use pi as 22/7, and because 60/360 is 1/6, that 1/6 will reappear in every part. Part 1, the arc length. The arc is the curved edge of the slice, a distance, so we take the angle fraction of the whole boundary, the circumference to pi r, not of the area. This is the moment to be careful, arc uses to pi r. Simplify as always, 60 over 360 is 1/6, and 21 over 7 is 3, clearing the sevens. Multiply out and the arc length is 22 centimeters. Notice the unit, plain centimeters, because an arc is a length. Part 2. The sector area. Same 1/6 fraction, but now of the area pi r squared instead of the circumference. That single switch turns a length problem into an area problem. Simplify the 1/6 and cancel 121 against the 7 to get 3, keeping everything whole. Multiply through and the sector is 231 square centimeters now, because this is an area. Part 3. The segment, sector minus triangle. Here's a lovely shortcut word spotting. The two radii OA and OB are equal, and the angle between them is exactly 60, so all three sides come out equal and the triangle is equilateral. That lets us use the equilateral formula, √3 over 4 times side squared, with the side being the radius 21. Compute it, keeping √3 exact, 441 √3 over 4 square centimeters. Finally subtract this triangle from the 231 sector to get the segment, following our segment equals sector minus triangle rule one more time. The gem to remember, whenever the central angle is 60 degrees, the two equal radii force the triangle to be equilateral, so you can read straight for √3 over 4 times the radius squared instead of dropping perpendiculars. Same 60-degree, equilateral triangle idea as before, now asking for both segments. The clever move is to get the small minor segment, then reach the major one by subtraction from the whole circle. Let's plan both answers up front. The minor segment is a small cap, sector minus its triangle. And rather than compute the huge major segment directly, we'll get it as the whole circle minus the minor segment. Givens, radius 15, angle 60, and pi as 3.14 since 15 isn't a multiple of 7. Start with the 60-degree sector, 1/6 of the circle, using pi as 3.14. 1/6 of 3.14 times 225 gives 117.75 square centimeters for the sector. Now the triangle. As we learned, a 60-degree central angle makes it equilateral, so its area is √3 over 4 times the side squared, the side being the radius 15. The question hands us √3 as 1.73, so we substitute that. Subtract triangle from sector for the minor segment, 117.75 minus 97.312 is 20.4375 square centimeters. Notice how small it is, that thin cap between chord and arc. For the major segment, here's the labor-saving idea. The minor and major segments together make the whole circle, so the major one is simply the full circle minus the minor segment we just found. No fresh sector or triangle needed. The whole circle is 3.14 times 225, that's 706.5. Take away the tiny 20.4375 minor segment, and the major segment is 686.0625 square centimeters, almost the entire circle, which makes sense. The efficiency lesson: never grind out a large major segment from scratch. Find the small minor one, then subtract it from the whole circle, the same total, a fraction of the arithmetic, and far fewer chances to slip. At 120 degrees the neat equilateral trick is gone, so here's the formula that never lets you down for any angle. Triangle area equals 1/2 r squared times the sine of the central angle. Segment equals sector minus triangle, as always. But note the angle is 120, not 60, so the triangle is isosceles rather than equilateral. The √3/4 shortcut doesn't apply. Instead we use the all-purpose formula 1/2 r squared sine theta, which works for every central angle. Let's do the sector first. The 120-degree sector is 1/3 of the circle, since 120 over 360 is a third. Using pi as 3.14 as the question directs. 1/3 of 3.14 times 144 gives 150.72 square centimeters for the sector. Now the triangle with the reliable formula, 1/2 times r squared times sine of the central angle. Where does the sine come from? It's the neat result of dropping the perpendicular and doing the trig once. The height and base collapse into r squared sine theta. Sine of 120 is √3/2. Put in √3 as 1.73, so sine 120 is about 0.865, half of 144 times that gives 62.28 square centimeters. Subtract triangle from sector for the segment. 150.7 to minus 62.28 is 88.44 square centimeters. The formula to keep in your back pocket. For any central angle, the inner triangle's area is 1/2 r squared times the sine of that angle. 60 degrees just happens to give the equilateral shortcut. This sine version never fails, whatever the angle. Picture the horse. The rope is a radius pinned at the corner, and the animal swings it round. The only question is how much of a circle it can sweep, and a square's corner answers that. Let's see why this is a sector. The rope, held taut, is a radius sweeping around the peg. But the horse is blocked by the two fences meeting at the corner, and a square's corner is a right angle, so it can only swing through 90 degrees. That's a quarter circle, and its radius is the rope's length. So the grazed area is 1/4 of pi r squared. Part 1, a 5-meter rope. So it's a quarter circle of radius 5, using pi as 3.14 as instructed. 1/4 of 3.14 times 25 gives 19.625 square meters of grass the horse can reach. Part 2. Lengthen the rope to 10 meters, same quarter circle, bigger radius. Note the field is 15 meters wide, so a 10-meter rope still fits inside without hitting the far fences. The quarter circle stays clean. The question asks for the increase, not the new total, so we subtract the old grazing area from the new one. That subtraction gives 58.875 square meters of extra grass. Notice doubling the rope more than quadrupled the reach, because area grows with the radius squared. The picture to store, a rope, chain, or beam anchored at a square's corner always sweeps a quarter circle, because the corner angle is exactly 90 degrees. And when a question says, increase, give the difference, not the new figure. Two different wires hide in this brooch, the curved rim going once around, and 5 straight bars across it. We add the lengths for part 1, then share the area for part 2. We're given the diameter, 35, but our formulas want the radius. The radius is always half the diameter, it reaches from the center to the edge, half of edge to edge, so r is 35/2. Keep it as a fraction, with pi as 22/7, that too will cancel nicely. Part 1. The total wire. Think physically about where wire goes, once around the outer rim, which is the circumference, plus 5 straight diameters laid across the circle. So the total length is 2 pi r plus 5 times 35. First the rim, circumference is 2 pi r, and with pi as 22/7 the 7 cancels the 35 and the 2 cancels the half, leaving a tidy 110 mm for the loop. Now the straight parts, 5 diameters, each a full 35 mm across, total 175 mm. Note we use the diameter here, not the radius, because each bar runs edge to edge through the center. Add the curved rim and the straight bars. 110 plus 175 is 285 mm of wire in all. Part 2 asks for one sector's area. The 5 diameters cut the circle into 10 equal slices. 5 lines through the center make 10 sectors, so each slice is exactly 1/10 of the whole circle's area. No angle needed. Equal sharing does the work. Substitute pi as 22/7 and r as 35/2, writing r squared out in full so the cancelling is visible. Cancel the 7s and the 2s and multiply out. Each sector is 385/4, which is 96.25 square millimeters. 2 habits here. Watch whether wire is curved, circumference, or straight, diameters, and add the right kinds of length. And when a circle is cut into equal sectors, each one is just the whole area divided by the number of sectors, no angle calculation required. The umbrella's ribs are just spokes fanning from the center, 8 of them, equally spaced, slice the circle into 8 identical sectors. So the area between 2 ribs is one of those 8s. Reason it out first. 8 ribs, equally spaced from the center, split the full circle into 8 equal sectors, and 360 divided by 8 is 45, which is the angle marked on our figure. The area between 2 neighboring ribs is therefore 1/8 of the whole circle. We can go straight to 1/8 of pi r squared, no angle fraction arithmetic needed. Substitute the radius 45 and pi as 22/7, as we do unless told otherwise. Work out 45 squared, which is 2025, that's the r squared part. Multiply through. Here 45 isn't a multiple of 7, so the 7s don't cancel and the answer stays a fraction, 22,275/28 square centimeters, an honest exact value. The recurring shortcut, equally spaced, spokes, umbrella ribs, wheel spokes, broach wires, always mean equal sectors, so each gap is simply the whole circle divided by the number of gaps. Spot that and you skip the angle entirely. Each wiper blade is a radius sweeping an arc, so it cleans a sector. 2 blades, and, this is the crucial phrase, they don't overlap, so we can safely just double one blade's area. Set it up carefully. One blade sweeps a sector of radius 25 and angle 115. There are 2 blades, and the problem promises they do not overlap. That matters, because if they overlapped we'd be double counting the shared strip. Since they don't, the total is honestly just twice one blade sector. So compute one blade first, The ordinary sector formula with theta 115 are 25, pi as 22 over 7. Work out 25 squared, which is 625, for the r squared part. Multiply everything through. The numbers are awkward. 115 and 25 share no factor with 7. So one blade comes out as the fraction 15812 over 252 square centimeters. Finally double it for the two blades. Doubling halves the denominator from 252 to 126, giving 15812 over 126 square centimeters cleaned at each sweep. Always read for that phrase, do not overlap. It's giving you permission to simply add the two sectors. If blades or regions did overlap, you'd have to subtract the shared area once to avoid counting it twice. A lighthouse beam fanning across the sea is a sector you can almost see. How far the light reaches is the radius, how wide it fans is the angle. Let's map the words onto a sector. The light reaches 16.5 kilometers out, that's the radius. It spreads across 80 degrees, that's the angle. So the worn patch of sea is a sector, and we go straight to the angle fraction times pi r squared, using pi as 3.14 as told. Handle the r squared. 16.5 squared is 272.25. Take your time with the decimal here. Squaring a 0.5 value is where slips happen. Now simplify the fraction. 80 over 360 both divide by 40, giving 2 over 9. Always reduce before the big multiply. Multiply to 9s by 3.14 by 272.25 to reach about 189.97 square kilometers of sea under warning. Units are square kilometers, since it's an area. The pattern behind so many word problems, any spread of light, water, or sound fanning out over an angle is a sector. The reach is the radius, the spread is the angle, name those two and it's a routine sector sum. This looks fearsome but it's a chain of things we already know. Each of the 6 designs is a segment, so find one segment, multiply by 6, then turn area into rupees. Let's break the fear into a plan. 6 equal designs share the full 360 degrees, so each spans 360 over 6, that's 60 degrees. And each design is the curved region between a chord and the arc, a segment, which we know is sector minus triangle. So, one segment times 6 times the rate. Radius is 28. Start with 160-degree sector. 28 is a multiple of 7, so pi as 22 over 7 will cancel cleanly. Simplify the 1/6 and cancel a 28 against the 7, then multiply. The sector is 1232 over 3 square centimeters. Now the triangle. A 60-degree central angle means it's equilateral, so root 3 over 4 times the side squared, side being the radius 28. The question gives root 3 as 1.7, so we use that. One design is sector minus triangle, 1232 over 3, which is about 410.67, minus 333.2, giving roughly 77.47 square centimeters per design. There are 6 identical designs, so multiply by 6 for the total decorated area, about 464.8 square centimeters. The final step is money, not geometry. Cost is area times the rate per unit area. So multiply 464.8 square centimeters by 0.35 rupees each, about 162 rupees 68 paise. The habit for any repeated design question. Find one peacefully, then multiply by how many there are. Never redo the same work 6 times. And cost is always area times the given rate per unit, so keep that as the last step. Don't be rattled by 4 lookalike options. Write down the formula you truly understand, then reshape it until it matches one of the choices. Anchor yourself on what you know for certain. A sector's area is its angle fraction, P over 360, times the whole circle's area pi r squared. The angles just call P here instead of theta, same thing. Now none of the options is written exactly like this, so we'll massage ours to match. The choices carry a 2 pi r, so let's manufacture one. Multiply the bottom by 2, making it 720, and multiply the top by 2 as well so the value is unchanged. That's pair 2 rides up to pair with pi r squared. Same quantity, new costume. That's option D exactly. And you can dismiss the rest at a glance. Any choice with just r, not r squared, is a length like an arc, not an area, wrong dimensions, and the ones with the wrong denominator simply don't equal our formula. The exam instinct to build an area must carry r squared, always. Any option showing only a single r is measuring a length, so cross it off instantly. That dimension check alone often kills 2 or 3 distractors before you calculate a thing. Let's put it to work with exam-style questions, MCQs, assertion reason, a case study, and board favorites. For each one I won't just pick the answer. I'll show you why it's right and, just as importantly, why the tempting wrong choices are traps, because in the exam that's exactly what saves marks. First, recognize the shape. 90 degrees is a quarter of the full 360, so this sector is a quadrant, 1/4 of the circle. That instantly tells us the angle fraction without any long division. Consider the 4 options. So it's 1/4 of pi r squared, a quarter of 22 over 7 times 7 squared, that's a quarter of 22 over 7 times 49, the 7's cancel to give 154, and a quarter of that is 38.5 square centimeters, option A. Watch the traps. 154 is the whole circle if you forgot the quarter, 77 is the half, and 19.25 is an eighth. Every wrong option is just the right method with the wrong fraction, which is exactly how examiners bait you. Notice the word length. This asks for a distance along the arc, not an area, so we must use the circumference to pi r, not pi r squared. The arc is the angle fraction, 60 over 360 or 1/6 of that full circumference. Consider the 4 options. 1/6 of 2 times 22 over 7 times 21. The 21 cancels the 7 to give 3, and it works out to 22 centimeters. Option B. Note the unit is plain centimeters because it's a length. The trap to dodge. If you wrongly used pi r squared, you'd get an area in square centimeters, and if you dropped the 1/6, you'd get the whole circumference. The answer being a length in centimeters is your check that you used the right formula. Decode the clock first. A full hour is 1 turn, 360 degrees, so 10 minutes, 1/6 of the hour, is 1/6 of 360, that's 60 degrees. The hand is the radius, 21 centimeters, and the swept region is a sector. Consider the four options. So it's 1/6 of 22 over 7 times 21 squared, that's 441. The 441 cancels the 7 down to 63, and it lands on 231 square centimeters, option A. The distractor 462 is what you get if you mistake 10 minutes for 20 and use 120 degrees, double the angle, double the answer, so read the time carefully. Quadrant means quarter, a 90-degree sector, 1/4 of the whole circle's area. So we want a quarter of pi r squared with radius 14. Consider the four options. A quarter of 22 over 7 times 14 squared, 196. The 196 cancels the 7 to give 28, and a quarter of the resulting 616 is 154 square centimeters, option C. Notice the trap 616 sitting right there. That's the whole circle, what you'd write if you forgot the quarter in quadrant. The word quadrant is doing real work, don't skim past it. This one runs the formula in reverse. We're given the area and asked for the angle. Same equation, we just leave theta as the unknown and solve for it. Set the sector formula equal to 231. Consider the four options. Write theta over 360 times 22 over 7 times 21 squared equal to 231. The 22 over 7 times 441 is 1386, so theta over 360 must equal 231 over 1386, which is 1/6, and 1/6 of 360 is 60 degrees, option C. A neat check. We solved Q2's forward version and got 231 for a 60-degree sector of radius 21. So working backwards must return that same 60 degrees. Assertion reason has a strict three-part drill. First, is the assertion true on its own? Second, is the reason true on its own? And third, the part students forget, does the reason actually explain the assertion, or is it just a true statement sitting nearby? Let's run all three. Which option is correct? Test the assertion. 1/6 of 22 over 7 times 6 squared, 36, is indeed 132 over 7, true. The reason states the sector area formula, which is true, and it is precisely the rule we just used, so it genuinely explains why the assertion holds. All three checks pass, so the answer is A. Both true and the reason explains the assertion. If the reason had been true but unrelated, the answer would drop to B. That's the distinction to watch. Same three-part drill. But this one hinges on the reason's clever claim that a semicircle is really just a sector of angle 180. If that's true, the assertion follows from it, so check the idea as much as the arithmetic. Which option is correct? The reason is spot on. A straight across half circle is exactly a 180-degree sector, since 180 is half of 360. Believing that, the area is half of pi r squared, half of 22 over 7 times 7 squared, 49, the 7's cancel to 154, and half is 77. The assertion checks out, the reason is true, and it's the very idea that produces the answer. So A again, both true, reason explains assertion. The lesson, a semicircle isn't a separate formula to learn, it's just the sector rule at 180 degrees. 1 setup, 3 questions, so let's fix the picture once and reuse it. The minute hand is the radius of a circle, 14 centimeters, and whatever slice of time passes, the region it sweeps is a sector while the path its tip traces is an arc. Keep that area versus arc distinction ready, because the third question quietly switches from one to the other. 15 minutes is a quarter of the hour, so the hand turns through a quarter of 360, that's 90 degrees, making the sweep a quadrant. We want its area, so it's pi r squared territory. A quarter of 22 over 7 times 14 squared, 196. The 196 cancels the 7 to 28, and a quarter of 616 is 154 square centimeters of clock face swept. 20 minutes is a third of the hour, 20 over 60, so the hand turns a third of 360, that's 120 degrees. Still an area, still a sector, just a bigger fraction of the circle. 1/3 of 22 over 7 times 196 comes to 616 over 3, about 205 square centimeters. The 3 doesn't divide out, so we honestly leave the fraction, and it's larger than part 1's 154, as it should be for a wider sweep. Here's the switch to catch. This asks for the distance the tip travels, not the area swept, so we follow the tip's path, which is an arc, and use the circumference to pi r, not pi r squared. 30 minutes is half the clock, so 180 degrees, half the circle. Half of 2 times 22 over 7 times 14 is 44 centimeters. And that unit, plain centimeters, a length, is exactly the flag confirming we treated it as an arc, not an area. The word distance traveled is what told us to switch from pi r squared to 2 pi r. Miss that word and you'd wrongly compute an area. A board favorite, and the phrase, right angle at the center, is the gift again. It turns the inner triangle into a clean right triangle whose legs are the radii. The minor segment is the curved cap, so as always it's sector minus triangle. What makes this friendly is the 90-degree angle. The two radii meet at a right angle, so the triangle inside is right-angled. Let's build the two pieces. First, the 90-degree sector, a quarter of the circle, pi as 22 over 7 since 14 is a multiple of 7. 1/4, and 14 over 7 is 2, so the 7's vanish and it multiplies cleanly to 154 square centimeters. Now the triangle. Because the radii meet at 90 degrees, they are the two perpendicular legs, so its area is just half of leg times leg, half of 14 times 14, which is 98. No trig needed at all when the angle is a right angle. Subtract. Following segment equals sector minus triangle, 154 minus 98. That leaves 56 square centimeters for the minor segment, two whole numbers subtracted, no messy roots, all thanks to the right angle. Store the shortcut for the board exam. A right angle at the center makes the triangle's legs equal to the radius, so its area is simply half r squared, and the whole segment collapses to two clean numbers, no dropping perpendiculars, no sign. The gentlest kind of board question, just a sector, plugging straight into the formula. The examiner has chosen numbers that cancel beautifully, so watch for it. No subparts, no code, just the sector area formula, angle fraction times pi r squared, with radius 21 and angle 60. Because 21 is a multiple of 7, 22 over 7 is the smart pi to pick. Simplify the fraction first. 60 over 360 is 1/6. Since 60 is a sixth of 360, Now cancel a 21 against the 7 to get 3. The 7s disappear and everything stays a whole number. Multiply out to a clean 231 square centimeters, no fraction, no decimal, exactly the tidy answer the chosen numbers were designed to give. The pattern worth recognizing instantly. When the radius is a multiple of 7 and you use 22 over 7, the 7s cancel and the answer is a whole number. If your working suddenly turns ugly with such numbers, that's a signal to recheck. The board rarely designs these to be messy. Careful reading first. This asks for the two sectors, not the segments, so no triangle is involved. Find the small minor sector, then get the big major one by subtraction from the whole circle. Note the plan and the wording. It wants sectors, so we stay with plain pie slices, no chords or triangles. Get the minor sector from the formula, then the major sector as the whole circle minus that minor. Givens, radius 10, angle 60, pi as 3.14 since 10 isn't a multiple of 7. The minor sector is the 60-degree slice, 1/6 of the circle, using pi as 3.14. 1/6 of 3.14 times 100 gives 157 over 3, about 52.33 square centimeters for the small sector. For the major sector, don't touch its 300-degree angle, just take the whole circle and remove the minor sector we found. The whole circle is 3.14 times 100, that's 314. Subtract the 157 over 3 minor sector to get 785 over 3, about 261.67 square centimeters, the large slice. Two things to carry. Read whether the question says sector or segment. Sectors need no triangle, segments do. And never compute a big major piece directly. Subtract the small minor one from the full circle every time. Before the exam, let's lock in everything from this chapter, but not as a list to cram. For each formula I'll remind you in one line where it comes from, because a formula you understand is one you can rebuild if your memory blanks in the hall. The key formulas, the smart shortcuts, the traps to dodge, and a memory hook or two. Here is the whole chapter on one card, and every line has a reason behind it. For a full circle, area is pi r squared. Remember we earned that by slicing the circle into sectors and repacking them into a rectangle of height r and width pi r, and the circumference is 2 pi r. A sector is just the angle fraction, theta over 360, of that circle, because theta out of a full 360-degree turn is the slice's share. Multiply that fraction by pi r squared for the sector's area, by 2 pi r for the arc length, same fraction, one for a region, one for a length. And a segment is a sector minus the triangle inside it, which we know because we literally lifted that triangle out to reveal the segment. That triangle's area is 1/2 r squared times sine theta, the tidy result of dropping a perpendicular and doing the trig once. A shortcut that literally halves what you memorize. Don't store separate sector formulas, store the idea that a sector is theta over 360 of the whole circle, because theta is its share of the full 360-degree turn. Then reach for the matching whole circle quantity. Take pi r squared and that fraction gives the sector's area. Take 2 pi r and the same fraction gives the arc length. One fraction, 2 jobs, area when you multiply an area, length when you multiply a length. Learn to whole circle formulas and the fraction does the rest. For a segment, never hunt for a special standalone formula. There isn't one, and there doesn't need to be. Remember, we lifted the triangle straight out of the sector to reveal the segment, so the segment simply is the sector minus that triangle. Find the sector, find the triangle formed by the two radii and the chord, subtract. And a bonus, when the central angle is 60 degrees, the two equal radii force the triangle to be equilateral, so its area is √3/4 times r squared, a shortcut that saves you the perpendicular and the trig. Choosing pi wisely can save you a page of messy arithmetic. Here's the reasoning. 22/7 has a 7 on the bottom, so when the radius is a multiple of 7, 14, 21, 28, that 7 cancels and you land on clean whole numbers. When the radius isn't a multiple of 7, that cancelling won't happen and 22/7 leaves ugly fractions, so reach for 3.14 instead. But the golden rule overrides everything. If the question states a value of pi, use exactly that. The marking scheme is built around it, and changing it can cost you the final marks. A classic mix-up that costs easy marks, arc length versus sector area. Both do use the same fraction, θ/360, that parts shared, but they multiply different wholes. Arc length is a distance along the boundary, so multiply the circumference to pi r. Sector area is a region inside, so multiply pi r squared. Here's your automatic safety check, the units. A length comes out in centimeters, and area in square centimeters. If length answer lands in square centimeters, you've used the wrong formula. The units catch the mistake before the examiner does. The other big trap, stopping at the sector when the question actually asked for a segment. Remember the picture. The segment is only the curved cap beyond the chord, while the sector is the whole pi slice including the triangle. So the segment is always the sector minus that triangle between the two radii. Skip the subtraction and your answer overshoots by exactly the triangle's area. The fix is a reading habit. Circle the words sector or segment before you start, so you know whether a triangle still needs removing. Here's a memory hook to carry into the exam, θ/360 times the whole. And it works because theta is the slice's share of a full 360-degree turn, so it's the same share of everything the circle owns. Whatever the sector question asks, take that fraction of the matching whole circle quantity, pi r squared if it wants an area, to pi r if it wants the arc. 6 words, and they regenerate both sector formulas on demand. And one more, for the shape students confuse most, segment equals sector minus slice. Picture it literally. The slice is the flat triangle joining the two radii and the chord. Cut that triangle out of the pi slice sector, and the curved segment is exactly what remains. Say, segment equals sector minus slice, and you'll never again report a sector when a segment was asked, nor forget to subtract the triangle. In 60 seconds, and every line with its reason. A circle has area pi r squared, because its sectors repack into a rectangle of sides r and pi r, and circumference to pi r. A sector is θ/360 of each. Since that's its share of the full turn, pi r squared gives its area, to pi r its arc length. A segment is the sector minus its triangle, because we lifted that triangle out to reveal it, and the triangle is 1/2 r squared sine theta, conveniently equilateral at 60 degrees. And always match pi to whatever the question states, choosing 22/7 when the radius is a multiple of 7 so the arithmetic stays clean. Understand those Don't just memorize them, and you're truly exam ready.